Welcome to the Northern Powerhouse interview series, where we're unashamedly spreading good news by interviewing Northern businesses and their successes during the pandemic. Subscribe to be notified of new interviews or click the link in the description to take part if you'd like to be interviewed yourself in a future episode.
Good morning. Welcome to Northern Powerhouses Business Success Stories. So we are joined by Adam Knowles this morning, Managing Director at Peru Consulting. So thank you ever so much for joining us, Adam. Can I just start off by asking you to introduce yourself to us properly, and can you tell us a little bit more about what it is you guys do?
Thanks, Vicky. So I'm Adam Knowles, the Managing Director at Peru. We've been established since 2012, and the core of our business is IT management consultancy, and we specialise in IT transformations, so helping our clients transform both their internal teams, but also their technology landscape as well, together with optimising their supplier contracts, so the kind of how they source and kind of optimize their IT delivery partners.
Brilliant. So how has the last year been for you guys? How has COVID affected your business?
Yeah, so I mean, I think at a personal level, and I think I can speak for a lot of kind of colleagues and clients. It's been a real challenge having that, kind of work and home life, kind of mashed together as quickly as it happened. So, trying to, kind of run a business or continue with whatever role you have whilst you've got, sort of young children in the house and, kind of everything sort of needing to happen at once. As well as trying to work out how the business kind of should respond to COVID was a real challenge for us. But in terms of the challenges from the business, I think I mean our business is essentially a people business, so we win a lot of our work based on relationships, kind of the past work we've delivered, and not being able to spend time with our clients has been a sort of very difficult challenge to overcome, and obviously kind of things like Zoom do help with that, but you can't really be kind of spending time face to face with people. So the biggest hurdle for us to overcome was the kind of winning new business, essentially, both in new clients and also follow-on work in existing. I think that was amplified a little bit by a lot of uncertainty on their side as well. So generally speaking, for a consultancy business, any change, there's going to be opportunities that come off the back of it. But where there's uncertainty, there's always a tendency to do nothing and wait to see what happens. And I think from what we saw, when the kind of initial lockdown started back in March, I think a lot of firms thought this problem would sort of last 3 or 4 months and kind of go away. Of course, it didn't. And then when it came through to September, we kind of saw some of our clients, starting to re-energize their own change agendas and not waiting for kind of the magical day when everything returned back to normal. So I think as they started to adapt and we started to adapt, we've both learned to work and do business in different ways now.
So how did you guys adapt to overcome those challenges? You mentioned that the home and work life balance was one big challenge for you guys to all overcome. We've all I think a lot of us have struggled with that one. But from building those relationships and that face-to-face time that you've been used to spending with your clients, how have you managed to tackle that?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, as a company, all our employees are officially based at home, and typically people normally spend sort of 2 days at home, 3 days on client sites. So people were generally speaking, kind of set up to work from home, both in terms of a kind of a suitable working environment, but also we had the right sort of technologies, in terms of sort of access to kind of video and collaboration technologies, etc. So in that regard, we were kind of good to go. And in terms of the actual work we do, generally speaking, that can be done remotely as well. I think the adaptations we made were to use video more. So historically, when we're kind of had meetings and conferences virtually, we tended to do more sort of audio and screen sharing. We consciously kind of moved to video, and that was more to kind of have better interaction with people. Although I think the downside of that was that, generally speaking, people kind of felt more tired at the end of the day. I'm not sure if it's because everything's a lot more visible on video than it might be kind of in a face-to-face meeting, but that was certainly something we noticed. And we did really encourage people to take sort of regular breaks from the desk. I think when you're kind of out and about in city centres, there's always the option to go out for a coffee or a chat with someone. And it was trying to replace that with other things, so to sort of take the time out to go out for a walk, don't feel guilty about that. But also focusing on sort of general mental well-being. So we had a couple of online courses for people who wish to attend, and a lot of that was geared around kind of taking time for yourself, kind of looking after your own mental health and well-being as well.
Brilliant. So what other kind of adaptations have you guys had to make? You were obviously very well set up already for remote working, so that wasn't necessarily sort of logistically speaking a huge challenge for you guys, but what other kind of adaptations have you had to make over the last year?
So one of the things we tended to always have done is have sort of regular company meetings. So the whole company gets together, for a couple of days once a quarter normally. So, includes like an overnight stay, typically a country hotel. Obviously, we weren't able to do any of that, and we did have some new starters as well. So we've started having kind of more regular company updates, sort of monthly updates. Kind of how's the company doing from a performance point of view? What's the outlook? In terms of kind of pipeline of work, etc. But also in terms of the directors and certainly myself as managing director, having sort of regular one-to-ones with staff. I think that was really important because when everyone was more mobile, would inherently have that because you'd sort of get around everybody on a fairly frequent basis. And when you're doing company updates, which is typically the kind of directors kind of speaking, people aren't necessarily kind of forthcoming with questions in front of kind of all the peers and colleagues. So it's really important to have that kind of one-to-one engagement, and we've supplemented that with kind of anonymous surveys so we can kind of really keep the finger on the pulse in terms of how people are feeling and what we need to adjust really to make the kind of working experience better.
So how has the team been? And you guys have obviously been extremely focused on their well-being, their mental health, and having those regular check-ins. How has it been for them?
I think everyone struggled a bit, mainly because the kind of world of consulting's quite a sociable job. We tend to spend a lot of time with each other and our clients. And to have that aspect of work taken away has been a struggle. As I said, people that work for us that have got sort of young families have found it difficult, particularly in the first lockdown where the schools really weren't geared up to kind of providing effective homeschooling. That kind of got better as the year moved on. But there was that kind of huge distraction of time and juggling and kind of not sort of clean end to the working day that I think people have really found difficult. And we've tried to be as flexible as we can, allowing people to kind of reduce their hours or work flexibly. So if they want to take some time out during the day with the children and catch up in the evening. And obviously that has a some knock-on impacts in terms of kind of taking time for themselves to do things that that aren't child or work related. But you know, I think it's not been great for anyone, but we've tried to accommodate people as best we can.
It's amazing that you guys have taken that whole approach though, because you know it's been incredibly challenging, hasn't it, being at home, and when we are juggling kids and everything else, you know, for you guys to have that flexibility and you know, that humanistic approach is fantastic to hear. So what do you guys sort of envisage as we start to move into, you know, the new normal, whatever that's going to look like? You know, what are you kind of anticipating in terms of challenges moving forward?
I think the challenges moving forward, you know, sort of continue to develop and win business and repeat business. I think it's still a bit uncertain in terms of how the market's going to respond for us. You know, there's a lot of positive messages, you know, in terms of projections and what's going to happen with the economy. But quite, you know, what's going to happen with, you know, kind of specific organisations, both in the public and private sector, I guess we just don't know. So, I mean, for us, one of the benefits of being a smaller organisation is inherently we're quite agile, so we can respond quickly to market demand. So I think that's going to be a challenge. I think also, you know, the general recruitment market has got a lot busier. So, you know, the sort of, you know, attracting new people, you know, kind of retaining the good people we've got is something we're quite conscious of as well.
Brilliant. And what have been some real wins for you guys? What can you kind of take away from this last year and say, do you know what, everything else aside, that was a positive?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big positive for us is, you know, we've always been of the opinion that the only way we can, you know, kind of win new business is on, you know, those close relationships, you know, spending time with clients. What I've actually found is we've actually, you know, kind of landed, you know, a series of new clients that we have not spent any time, you know, kind of face to face, both in terms of the business development and delivering the work. So that's really positive. And I think what perhaps that tells us is, while it is really important to get to spend time with people when we can do again and when their offices open up, we actually can do more remotely than perhaps we thought we could do. So, you know, I think generally, you know, kind of taking some of the positives of the last year and allowing people to, you know, kind of get a better work-life balance is something that we'd look to continue where we can do as well.
Brilliant. So, and what are you guys looking forward to the most as the world kind of starts spinning again? What's everyone looking forward to?
Well, in terms of looking forward, I think as a company, spending time with each other, you know, I think we've had a few new starters over the last 12 months. Some of them have met very few of the colleagues in person. And I think that's really important to kind of build those bonds and relationships. And, you know, the same is true with our clients as well. You know, a lot of them we've had, you know, kind of quite long-standing relationships with. And, you know, it's really critical to kind of get out there and see them. And I think, you know, in summary, really, it's that kind of social aspect of work that's been missing. Not the, you know, the kind of transactional stuff of can you in reality do something or not. But, you know, we're kind of sociable people and we need to, you know, kind of embrace that again.
Brilliant. And what does the future hold for you guys? What exciting things are in the offing that you're allowed to tell us?
Well, I mean, you know, I think all the indicators point to, you know, kind of a fast growing economy, and you know, we need to be able to respond to that. So I think, you know, the next 12 months is going to be fairly turbulent. You know, I don't think the kind of issues surrounding COVID are over by any means. But you know, I think it is looking more optimistic. People are, you know, kind of doing business in different ways themselves, and you know, as their own businesses change, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us as, you know, kind of an trusted advisor company.
And my final question for you, Adam, is what would you say, taking everything into consideration over the course of the last year, what would you say is your biggest learning that you can take away?
I think I mean I think it's easy to focus on the negatives there. I think the biggest learning really is to make sure, you know, kind of everyone still, you know, kind of feels part of the company, part of the team, you know, you know, is feels kind of wanted, and you know, really making a conscious effort to keep that regular contact. And that's not just, you know, kind of managers and directors speaking to the direct reports. That's, you know, kind of the sort of peer-to-peer communication as well. I think, you know, from a business point of view, I guess the one thing we may have done differently is made a bit more use of the furlough scheme earlier on. I think at the time, you know, it was kind of closed to new people joining that scheme in June, and that was, you know, kind of perhaps the biggest impact to our business. But you know, we didn't have a crystal ball, and you know, it's easy to kind of look back and think, yeah, I might have done something slightly differently there. So
retrospect is a wonderful thing.
yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Adam, thank you so much for sharing your experience of the last year with us, and you know, the challenges and the lessons that you guys have learned. We really appreciate you sharing those with us. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for watching. What was your takeaway from today's interview? Please post it in the comments below, and subscribe for all our upcoming videos, or click for the next video here.